there's a couple results that I think we would have liked to have gone a little bit differently. But at the same time, the competition to start off with is very good. So I think we're okay. I think we've got a veteran group, and we've got several new young players that are going to step up and fill important roles. So we're okay. But the thing that I like the most about this group is that we're getting a little bit better each and every game.
Let's look back Saturday's game against Assumption, a big 3-2
Right.
win, and as you mentioned, 0-2 on the year, and you're down 1-0
Right.
relatively early on. Tie it, late in the first half, and then get those second half goals for the win.
Yeah.
Talk about the resolve of this team. Potentially staring 0-3 on the year in the face, but yet battling back to pick up not only a key win, but a key Northeast 10 conference win.
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. Assumption is a quality side, and they're very dangerous going forward. Certainly, good forwards, and for us to concede a goal in the first 5 minutes, not the ideal way you want to start conference play. That being said, I mentioned we have a veteran group, and one thing that I've gotten to know about the student athletes on this team is that they're resilient. So while was not an ideal start, I was not concerned that we were going to be able to rebound, and they didn't disappoint.
We know how competitive.
To say where everybody's going to end up, but Assumption's been one of the top 2 teams in an extremely challenging, difficult conference in the past 2 years. So to be able to get a result on the road at a very competitive program is a great way to start. And as you mentioned, Mike, it's every game is competitive, and you really can't take any game for granted. So for us to walk away from there with 3 points is exactly the way you want to start the season.
We'll finally get to see you here at Jesdow Field on Saturday. The road swing will finally come to a conclusion, but talk about your opponents this week and what you expect to see.
This is a interesting month because the way the schedule falls, we only have 1 home game this entire month. So this Wednesday we're up on the road at St. A's. And Coach Wallace is going to have their team prepared. They are a quality side. Again, they're another group, have 2 very good forwards. So we're going to absolutely have our hands full. I know they're going to be ready for us. So that's going to be a tough game. And then over the weekend, we have Southern New Hampshire here for our only home game this month. And I really, Coach Montero up at Southern New Hampshire does an outstanding job. So. But we haven't really thought about that game yet. The game at St. A's on Wednesday is really our priority.
Just going back to the last point, obviously you have a few weeks leading into the first regular season game, and you end up with 2 games in 3 days, in essence, to start the year. Last week, just the 1 game, and for the most part now you'll get into a routine of 2 games a week, but from a coach and a preparation standpoint, and getting the student athletes ready, getting the coaches and the game plans ready, what are some of the challenges, if any, that go with some of that ebb and flow of the variance of games to start the year, and then also once versus twice a week?
Yeah, they're the girls that are students first. So now you get the benefit we can start to get into a little bit of a rhythm. So we have 2 games a week, pretty much every week for the rest of the season. The downside is, for the midweek game, they may be just, taken away from classes and all that. So it's a challenge for the student athletes that way. They do get into a rhythm of training, but at the same time, there's very little recovery between the games. So to start out the season, you had the preseason and the 2 games in 3 days, and then we had a week to be able to prepare. So you had a little bit of training time, but now you have 2 games every week with very little recovery time. So there's certainly some physical challenges with that, and there's other challenges as well, considering the academic rigors and everything else that goes into it. But we're ready to go. It's a marathon, but it's also a sprint in some cases too, because it's so fast paced.
Well, again, if you haven't had a chance, check out our YouTube page. Some of the highlights, second half goals from Saturday's win over Assumption. Coach, congrats on the win Saturday. Congrats on the victory for your Jets yesterday.
Thank you.
And we look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. And again, be sure to come on out to Jesdow Field on Saturday at 5 o'clock.